Now we'll roll, guys. All right, so we're obviously doing this about Tri-City. What kind of collaboration, what different kinds of collaborations do you have at the school with Tri-Cities?
So I work at the district office and I oversee mainly middle school and high school work. I also work with the psychologists and social workers in the district. So our interaction with Tri-Cities has been that they come in and do professional learning opportunities. They provide professional learning opportunities for psychologists and social workers. They work collaboratively with our student assistance counselors and student support specialists. Greg Watson meets with those individuals once a month in order to do some case management and reflect on cases and try to provide support for those individuals because the things they're dealing with, it's very stressful work that they do, so it's nice for them to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. We also have Tri-Cities come into the building and work with our students. We utilize them during our most recent time of crisis in March.
Let's back up a little bit about that.
Okay.
Tell me very briefly what happened in March.
Okay.
And how Tri-Cities helped
Okay.
with that situation.
In March, we had two of our students from St. Charles East High School were they were murdered by their father, and they were twin girls who attended St. Charles East High School. We also had a student who died an accidental death, and he was also a junior. He died on Thursday. The girls had passed away the Friday before. And then we had one of our staff members and a dear colleague of ours, Julie Christensen, who's our assistant principal. She passed away. She died of cancer on the following Sunday. So we had a crisis team start up on Friday during the time that the girls passed away, and that crisis team worked all the way through the following week on the Monday. And that crisis team consists of our student assistance counselors, student support specialists, our social workers, psychologists, our lead teachers, administrators. We saw 380 students, for example, on that Monday after the students passed away. And we needed some help from the outside community. So I was able to call up Laura Pass and Greg Watson and Laura Kowalski, and the three of them came over to St. Charles East High School. Greg worked with our staff members. We call him the dog whisperer because he's like the human whisperer. He can get people to talk that probably have a difficult time otherwise sharing their feelings. He worked with the adults, and then Laura Kowalski and Laura Pass both worked with our students, and they saw students in groups, they saw students individually, and they were able to help us assess students to see what their level of need was and if they needed any follow-up. They also came back on the following day, which was Tuesday. We saw another 220 students on that day. And then they were with us again the following Thursday. So they spent time with us throughout that whole week. Greg also came back to our staff meeting on Thursday, and he talked with the staff about how you deal with loss. And it's okay that we were feeling badly. You know, I know we're the adults that are supposed to keep the kids safe, but the kids also understand that we're human beings, and give yourself time, give the kids time, and just gave us kind of permission to just be human beings.
Now, how important, integral was it to have Tri-Cities there while this was all going on for you?
I think, they're just having them there, I think, was invaluable because I knew that we needed connection to the outside community. I knew that we needed for our staff and our students to see that we can work with you within the building, but this isn't just going to end within the building, and you might need support or further support out, in the future in your life. And we have this relationship with Tri-City, and we want you to have that same type of comfort and relationship with them. So aside from the fact that I feel like I've gotten to know those individuals very well over the years with the professional learning that they've helped, provide for our staff, I think this gave us just another level of getting to know those individuals from Tri-City, and just be able to say, you know our kids, you're seeing our kids in your offices, and now you're here on their territory, seeing them in their school buildings. And I think that gives the kids a sense of comfort because they trust their school for the most part. They trust their school community, and now they know that we trust in these people in the outside community as well. So it was a sense of comfort for me to be able to provide that for students and to be able to have our staff work with the Tri-City collaboratively.
Absolutely, especially in a time when it was so needed, because it was,
Right.
I can't even imagine. Do you deal with the Chick Chat?
I do. I do.
So, because you're in the middle schools too.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I worked with Michelle Clark on the Chick Chat.
So tell me a little bit about the importance of Tri-Cities coming in on that capacity with some of the other like more proactive versus reactive programs.
We have known about Chick Chat for a number of years because we work collaboratively in the Mid-Valley Co-op, the cooperative. So Tri-City has provided the Chick Chat in Geneva, and we've talked about the fact that we need to host this at some point in St. Charles. So Laurel O'Brien, who's our executive director, she volunteered St. Charles to host the Chick Chat this year. So we were able to host Chick Chat at Redling Middle School. And I will tell you, it came on the Saturday after all of the sadness that we had gone through, and there was a part of me that thought, I don't even know how I'm going to get the energy to do this, but I will tell you, the setup that Michelle Clark, which she put in place through Tri-City, was amazing. We had about 130 fourth, fifth, and sixth grade girls come in who were super excited to be there. It was decorated in the bright green and pinks, and the girls came in and they got bags, goodie bags that they were going to use throughout the day. They had activities set up for the girls to be able to, talk about how to build relationships that are healthy relationships, how to use the internet appropriately, how to avoid drama in middle school, and they had yoga set up for them. They had some, other physical activities they were doing. So it was a really, it was an exciting day. It kind of changed everything we had just been through to such positive and preventative measures for kids.
And you deal with middle schoolers a lot, so how important do you think this kind of an activity within the school is for those girls? How important is it to them?
I think I heard about it, I thought it was great, but having seen it firsthand, I'd see an even bigger value in what they're doing with kids. They've also started a program that they're going to implement for boys, which I think is also necessary. I think with all of the social media, with all of the opportunities that students have to communicate with one another behind a computer, they need to learn what healthy relationships are, and they need to learn how to communicate with one another face to face, and how to do it appropriately if you are behind that computer, and how to just enjoy life and find things that are of interest to you, and how you find hobbies and other friends who have same idea of what's fun as you, and keep that fun healthy.
That's great. And it's so hard to find that now when kids are so stuck in their technology, because
Right.
they're constantly watching somebody else's life.
Right.
I think that's good. I had one last question, and you kind of answered this a little bit, but I want to just ask in a broader way, because I might use this a different way. But telling about how important all these services are that Tri-Cities offers, how important that is to the community
Okay.
specifically.
Okay. In working with Tri-City, we've learned of the various programs that they have, and the programs that they have not only they not only pertain to the students we're working with, they also pertain to their families. So, for example, Tri-City has come in and talked to us about the eating disorder program that they have, and how they work with the family members. They don't just work with the child who's going through, dealing with this eating disorder. They talk about how families can support and provide that support. And I think that's something that, as a mom and as doing the job that I do, we don't always have the answers, obviously. And so it's great to see that they're pulling the family in to be able to guide them. They do the wilderness trip. My own stepson went on the wilderness trip, and they are out in portaging their canoe and eating in whatever they make, and sleeping in tents. And so I think that builds strength and leadership for students who sometimes aren't sure of themselves and just need a little bit of, they need to understand how much they can actually bring to this world. And I think that wilderness trip gives them that sense of like, I'm better than I thought I was, We also have the individual counseling that's done, where our students go to counselors through Tri-City, and we collaborate with those counselors so we can not only provide our services within the school, but we can hear what's happening outside of school for our students and their families, and then we can all try to work collaboratively so that we give nice wraparound type service to people. Again, then I said we have the support for our adults, because the adults who deal day in and day out with kids who you know, are either, you know, at risk for self-harm, or they have they're struggling with maybe some family situations, or they're struggling with friendships. I think we own a lot of that when we go home, and we don't just say, okay, well, I saw some students today and I can forget about that. So our adults need a release and somebody to talk to. So I think that support that Greg Watson has provided for us has been wonderful this year. We also, like I said, we have them come in and do professional learning, and so our staff members are benefiting from that. And then we just keep up with the programs that they have for kids, like the Chick Chat, or they do like a Lake Geneva getaway trip for girls and just teach girls how to go out and be with each other and have fun. Or I talked about like the wilderness trip where you teach people to, you know, cohabitate and that. So it's been, I think their programs are pretty much endless. And if we suggest something, they will come up with a way to find a solution to whatever it is we ask of them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
Nope. Was there anything that you wanted to say that we didn't prompt you with?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I love how you wrapped that up, that their programs were endless.
I think it's so funny because I told Pat Radke, who's one of our student assistance counselors, I said, I'm doing a sound bite. And she goes, you need like a sound buffet for you. Like, I hope I didn't talk too much.